Living a Healthy Life with your hosts, Ipek and Craig. The show which explores simple things we can do to feel better today than we did yesterday.
Bringing you the most up-to-date information is our mission. Each week, we'll explore different ways to make today the best day of your life.
With me as always is my beautiful bride, Ipek, and my name is Craig. It's all happening this week on Living a Healthy Life. Hello everyone, we are live in the studio. This is Living a Healthy Life with Gold Zulu. I am the Gold and I'm here with the very beautiful Zulu.
Hi everybody, that's me.
And we are Gold Zulu. Before we get into that, we thought we'd start today with a little bit about who we are, about what this show is all about. We thank you for stepping into this quest with us and joining us on what we hope will be an exceptionally informative experience for you and for us. To say that we're excited is an understatement. We're here in the studio having a really good time with a very expensive microphone. And we're just having a good time. And we're excited to share that with you guys. And I wish you could see the smile on Ipek's face right now. It is ear to ear.
We are very excited, yes. One of the first things I want to tell you guys about is that combo name that Craig just mentioned, Gold Zulu. Before we were the Goldbergs, we got married 2.5 years ago. We were the Gold Zulu. Actually, I guess you can say we'll always be the Gold Zulu.
Always will.
That's right. Gold Zulu is a combo name for us. It's derived from both of our last names, Goldberg and Ozulu. And that's where Gold Zulu comes from.
Stuck.
And it sounds good.
Gold Zulu is in the house. So you're going to hear that from time to time. It's a name we reply to and respond to together, actually. If you say, hey, Gold Zulu, Ipek or I or both of us may turn around. So let's go with that. It just works. So as we get into living a healthy life with Gold Zulu, what does that mean? What are we going to be going over? And what is this show all about? Thank you again for being here without knowing even that. This show is all about what it means to live a healthy lifestyle. That definition of healthy is often a confusing one. I think if you look and talk to 10 different people, you might get 10 different answers as to what healthy means to them. You ask your doctor what a healthy choice might be, you're going to get a different answer than if you ask your nutritionist, for example. So what we hope to explain and shed some light on through this podcast and this radio show is a little bit about what it means to be healthy. We're coming from a non-judgmental type of place. We're going to share with you in a couple minutes exactly what Ipek and I have gone through and where we've come from. This is a path that we are walking on, and it is a path that we are not done walking on. It's a path that we realize we made a wrong turn or two on every day. So for us, it's all about being our best selves today and taking you along for that ride. So before we get into that, some of the things that you can expect to hear about today are nutrition, fitness, essential oils, and using plant-based medicine, what's happening in your environment, both at work and at home or when you're in your car. We're going to be looking into ingredient lists. We're going to share with you how we shop. We're going to go on some field trips. We already have an exciting list of guests that we're going to have on this podcast. To say that we are excited, like I said, is really an understatement. We are pumped and we are ready to rock and roll. So before we get into a little bit of our background, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors.
İpek Design is a collection of handmade accessories crafted with love and intent. I create each unique piece, setting forth an intention to bring positive energy to the recipient. As I design in my various collections, I charge my creations with positive affirmations for abundance, prosperity, and happiness. Please visit my website, www.ipek.design. You can also find me on Instagram at İpek Designs. Remember, maintaining positive energy is the essence of true happiness.
And we're back. We thought next it would be good for us to address a little bit of our background, a little bit of our history. So İpek and I are going to roll up our sleeves and share with you where we've come from, why we've made the decisions that we've made. My hope is that you will see and understand that we're not perfect, that we've made mistakes, and we're only trying to make the best possible decisions that we can each and every day. And that's the quest that we're on, right? That's the path that we're walking on. So without further ado, İpek, why don't you kick it off by sharing just a little bit about the last 5 or 6 years of our lives and what kind of kicked off this quest for knowledge and for really, truly healthy living.
Sure. So I guess I should start with, it was, like you said, about 5 years ago. We were in New York visiting with some family, and I noticed as I was just brushing my hair that there was a bump back on behind my left ear. I noticed that it was actually my lymph nodes that were swollen. It was about the size of a chickpea, very hard and painful to the touch. So that certainly got my attention. As I started feeling a little more around my neck, I noticed that I also had another swollen lymph node just right under my chin. It was, that one actually was interesting because if I tilted my head backwards, you could physically see the bump from my skin.
And that's not really uncommon, right? We're just so that we're all kind of on a common ground here, right? We have somewhere between 500 and 700 lymph nodes in our body. The body has two main circulatory systems, if you will, the blood and your lymph. Blood brings nutrients and oxygen to the cells. Your lymphatic system drains waste away from the cells. Your blood is pumped by your heart. Your lymph, by contrast, is drained by gravity. And you have 4 times as much lymph in your body as you do blood. So this was something that was really alarming both to İpek and I, especially as we found more and more lymph nodes becoming swollen on her body. So
yeah, and I also had some cystic acne on my lower part of my face, which was also a concern. So when we got back to San Diego, I went to my primary care physician, and he ran a bunch of tests, of course, and couldn't really pinpoint exactly what the root cause of this condition could have been. And so, of course, Craig and I started doing our own research on our own, and at the same time going to specialist after specialist.
Yeah, it was really frustrating that we couldn't get to the bottom of what was happening. They did a biopsy on one of her lymph nodes. It came back benign. Yeah. They did all sorts of different tests, and nobody could really tell us what it was. It was very, very frustrating for us. There was one last symptom that ultimately became a pointer for us. Or an indicator for us. And that was after a couple days of drinking. İpek and I used to like to have a good time. In fact, we still like to cut a rug every now and again. We would often go into the city, or we would hang out with friends from Friday afternoon, happy hour, until Sunday afternoon. Many of you probably still do the very same thing. What we noticed was that by about Saturday afternoon, İpek would lose her voice.
Yeah.
And we weren't quite sure exactly what that was until, shout out to our friend Roxy, a friend of ours said, hey, it's probably gluten because I used to lose my voice after drinking beer. You should look into gluten. I think a lot of people that are listening to us right now are eating the Mediterranean diet, right? And the Mediterranean diet is one that is filled with bulgur wheat, pasta, bread.
Right, yeah.
You could only imagine what the look on İpek's face when I turned to her and I said, İpek, we got to give up gluten and see if that's the cause. How did that go over?
Yeah, I was not a happy camper, that's
not
for sure.
Not a happy camper.
I was in denial, to say the least, and just kicking and screaming, I decided, okay, fine, I I guess just to kind of maybe shut you up in the moment.
Appease your husband.
That's right. We decided to, and thank you. I do appreciate the fact that he voluntarily decided to also.
I did it along with you.
Do a 7-day gluten-free
challenge.
No,
hold on. Before we get into a 7-day gluten-free challenge, we just went 72 hours. Okay, 3 days without gluten. 3 days without gluten. All of her symptoms went away. Her lymph nodes weren't swollen anymore. Her cystic acne started to show signs of going away. And we did test drinking for a couple days straight, and she was not losing her voice. So we're not saying that going gluten-free is the solution for a lot of people that are out there. However, in this particular case, it worked for us. I can tell you that it was not one swing at the gluten-free train that we took, but Ipek was convinced that it was a lotion that her dermatologist gave her, and it was something else that she was eating, and it was the last thing that she wanted to say
gluten
is that it was gluten.
What I was trying to
that was the culprit. But needless to say, removing gluten from her diet actually helped her significantly, and it really helped me significantly as well.
Yeah.
So
that was step one.
Yeah, it was kind of step one. Exactly. This is about 5-6 years ago. Over the first 6 months that we were gluten-free, I continued to get these like minor head colds, sneezing fits, coughing, kind of mucusy, if you will. But it was kind of pesky to me. So I started doing a whole bunch of research on gluten-free, gluten intolerance, and your immune system, and right, because I'm wondering why I'm getting sick, a head cold after head cold, which was something that was very uncommon for me. And over again, I kept seeing GMOs and genetically modified foods. And I didn't know what genetically modified food was. Frankly, I thought it was redder apples and bigger bananas. And that's just not the case, right? So if you can picture this, I'm sitting in bed, it's Sunday morning, Ipek is in the bed next to me sleeping, and I am on my phone doing research. And what you can visualize me doing research, it's a bunch of different tabs open. I'm searching different terms in new windows and new tabs, right? I'm doing all of this from my phone. And I'm sitting here reading article and article after article all about the immune system and now genetically modified food. And eventually I just said, you know what? I can't read anymore. My eyes hurt. Keep in mind, I'm still a little under the weather. So I go out to the living room and I look for a documentary. And I find this documentary called Genetic Roulette. We'll put a link in the show notes so that if anybody's interested in watching this, you can at least get the name. It's called Genetic Roulette.
It's excellent.
Excellent. And this is something that has pretty much changed our lives. So I sit down to start watching Genetic Roulette, and not within, I think, the first 2 or 3 minutes, I pause it and I think, I got to get my laptop. I'm going to take some notes. I still have these notes that I took inside my Evernote. And here I am taking notes of things I want to verify inside this documentary that I'm watching. All right. This whole time, Ipek is still sleeping in. We had plans that day. We were going to plan our wedding. We had a tight schedule that we were going to stick to, but it definitely involved us sleeping in the morning so that we can get a good night's rest. We're going to talk about how important sleep is. So we were committed to sleep at this point already. And Ipek is sleeping in. I'm taking copious notes. I'm watching this video. And at the end of this video, I pretty much become horrified with what I'd seen, what I'd learned, and now what I'd verified. There wasn't really anything in that video or that documentary that I watched that I could not find proof of. Very, very disturbing stuff. We're going to talk about that at a later date. But Ipek, maybe you can share a little bit about what you opened the door to that one beautiful morning at our apartment.
That's right. So I woke up to find Craig in the living room. All of the lights were on. The kitchen island was covered in all of the, pretty much the pantry was emptied out into the kitchen island. All of the cabinet doors are open. And I come out the door, still a little, half sleepy, to say good morning to Craig. And he's telling me he's so excited. And he's like, "You're not going to believe this. And I couldn't believe my eyes. First of all, I said, what is going on here? He said, I know we need to plan the wedding, but I would really love for you to sit down and watch this documentary. I just got done watching it myself, and you're going to like this information.
I basically said, if you see what I saw, we're changing our plans for the day. But if you watch this and you go, Craig, you're crazy, I'll put everything away and we'll go plan our wedding.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that same exact point in the documentary where I took out my laptop. İpek is standing, she's a very emotional woman, by the way, is standing looking at the screen going, is this true? Is
I think
this
I was
true?
yelling at the TV.
I'm pretty sure you're yelling at the screen, right? Yeah. Yelling at the television going, is this legit? And I pulled up the research that showed that was a fact. And this was a big turning point for us in our lives. And it basically was a cascade or ripple down effect where İpek and I went on a quest to basically control 3 main things about ourselves. And that is what we put in our mouth, what we keep on our skin, and of course, what we keep in the air around us, right? There are 3 environments that you can absolutely control with obviously a certain degree. What you put in your mouth, what you keep on your skin, and of course, what you keep in the air around you. And this became the kind of the kickoff point, if you will, for our organic lifestyle. And you're going to hear us talk a lot about the importance of eating organic food. We're going to help you with some tips and tricks as to how you can do it on a lighter budget. But this was a big turning point for us in our lives on really taking control and saying that enough is enough. We now had enough knowledge that we could make some pretty significant change in our lives. And before this day, we just didn't know. And hopefully we can enlighten you and shed some light and share some knowledge as to what we now know.
It was also that we were, I look back now and I wasn't that curious. And that puts a big question mark in my mind, and why was I not curious? Was I, influenced by media and television just not to ask these kinds of questions? Where does my food come from? What is this going to, what are the nutritional benefits it's going to have on my body once I eat it? And so these are things that we're very passionate about, and we are very looking forward to sharing more and more in detail with you guys.
Thank you so much for sharing this first episode, this first radio show, this first broadcast. We hope you'll be back. We hope to connect with you through social media, and we look forward to staying connected and staying in touch. Thank you all. Peace and love.
Thank you. Peace and love.
HealingOils.love is the place for doTERRA certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils.
Essential oils have been used throughout history in many cultures for their medicinal and therapeutic benefits. Learn about how you can use essential oils every day to maintain a healthy lifestyle and keep your family operating at its highest potential.
Join our communities on Facebook and Instagram at HealingOils.love for tips and recommendations on how you can begin using doTERRA essential oils today.